Good evening. I'm Bill Kelly from the American Society for Engineering Education, and like the previous speakers, I want to thank NASA for its leadership, because it is all about leadership on collaboration. The potential, if we can work together to really follow through and really see some change is enormous. I'll tell you a little bit about the American Society for Engineering Education. It was founded in 1893 in Chicago, believe it or not, the Exposition. And it started out as a society for the promotion of engineering education. So it's interesting, more than 100 years ago, there was a sense they're going to have to get out and talk about engineering education if folks are actually going to get involved in it. In 1937, ASEE began to accept technical institutes for those of you who are students of education. There was a lot of opportunity to do technical work. It was not college level, but there was a sense that somehow those two sectors needed to find ways to work together. In 1943, 50 years after ASEE was founded, it changed its name to the American Society for Engineering Education. I don't think that was happenstance. I think that was a 50-year activity. And in 1960, it formed the Engineering Technology Council. And I say that to emphasize the fact that ASEE is really a stakeholder when you talk about the T and the E in STEM. And I know we don't all define the T the same way as some we ought to probably talk about, but we have a very good number of members who are actually teachers of engineering technology, teaching community colleges, and certainly the community colleges are an enormous untapped resource in terms of the STEM workforce. Engineering and technology education is all about success. And certainly all of many of our members, not all of our members are actually faculty, but their primary role is education, although certainly many of them are researchers as well. But I think one of the most rewarding things that a faculty member does is really advising and mentoring the students. And I'm 30 years an engineering educator, as an engineering dean, a department head, a faculty member, and you know, when you have students come back and say, hey, professor, what you did, and you probably don't even remember me, that changed my life. And so that's a big thing for engineering faculty. And one of the things that I see with this NASA initiative is it's going to make it easy for faculty members and for students to find out about the enormous opportunities that are available through NASA. And it's going to be a tremendous tool for faculty and for students and for parents, by the way, because parents also want to find out what these opportunities are as well. Tell you a little bit about ASEE. We're a relatively small organization, and we only do engineering and technology. We don't do all of the STEM, but we do really try to reach out to the community. And Bob Black, our executive director, started, and I've been at ASEE since 2007, but Bob started a magazine that I hope many of you have seen, Engineering Go For It. And many of the companies and many of the agencies actually, they get it customized and they have their organization on the back. But I didn't print the cover here particularly for tonight, but for those of you who can see this, and I know the folks at the front table can, there's a rocket ship on the front, and if I open up to page 39, I find one of the examples of a young person involved in engineering is actually a NASA rocket scientist. So we've been doing this. I think we've recognized, and I think it's taken a little bit of time for higher education to recognize the importance of really working with the K-12 community. And we certainly don't know how to do it all yet, but we're looking forward to collaborating with you and with NASA. In addition to the print version, and the print version is more for folks like me and the other folks up here at the panel, but you know that the young folks, it's all about interaction. And we have a website that goes with this. It's dynamic because if you put your website up and it doesn't change every day, the students don't come back and look at it, right? So you got to be, we have some young people that are actually blogging all the time, and basically that's what it takes to reach out to this this next generation. We also, one of the things we do on the website is there is a newsletter for students, and more importantly, there's a newsletter for teachers, because teachers really want to know about how to do engineering in the classroom. And there's just not as much out there as there should be. We have, we have a newsletter for teachers. We have about 15,000 teachers nationally that subscribe to the newsletter, and they're also getting lesson plans. In the summer, we, and again, I give credit to the staff at ASEE because they saw this coming. It predates me. But we have a teacher's workshop. We had I think it was our 8th teacher's workshop in Louisville this summer. We had about 300 people there all day on Saturday. And these were teachers that want to know about, how do I get engineering in the classroom? And there's just not a lot around on it right now. And so teachers are hungry for that kind of information. We're going to try to do it in Vancouver next summer, and that's going to really be a challenge because that's, for most of you probably know, that's not in the U.S. But we think the Canadians are probably doing a pretty good job on getting their young folks involved in engineering, so maybe an opportunity here for a little bit of international collaboration. ASEE actually administers a number of federal internships, fellowship programs, scholarships. NSF is one. And I also checked, we administer the NASA Aeronautics Scholarship Program. So we're already collaborating with NASA in a small way and really look forward to really broadening that, strengthening that collaboration. One of our, our main audience really is engineering faculty and also engineering deans, and we try to get out to them in all sorts of electronics media. You can't hit folks in too many different ways today because they are so busy and they are inundated with information. This Engineering Go For It site, the website, actually now has a Facebook, and I didn't check the numbers, but there's a big number of folks that now are following ASEE on Facebook. One of my main responsibilities at ASEE is the Engineering Deans Council. We have about 335 institutional members of ASEE, and the leaders, actually the representatives are the deans of engineering. We also have an engineering technology council, but I work most closely with the deans. Don Giddens, who many of you know, the dean at Georgia Tech, who's past chair now of the Engineering Deans Council, will actually be president of ASEE starting in June of 11. So, and Don is really, he was one of the co-authors of Changing the Conversation, the idea that if we're going to reach out and talk about engineering and technology, we're going to have to learn to communicate with the folks in the next generation. We also have a public policy colloquium for the deans. We bring the deans in to talk about some of the issues. The deans then will spend the following day and visit Capitol Hill to talk about the things that are important to them and really important to all of us. And they're terrific messengers. You give them the right message, they go to each one of their state delegations, and they have a lot of credibility because the engineering colleges, as many of you know, are really a key resource for many states in terms of economic development. I was at the University of Nebraska for 14 years, 2 back-to-back national championships. I told my wife they're not going to three-peat. We might as well leave town. I actually did not three-peat. But the importance of our public institutions and actually our private institutions to economic development. And it goes beyond just the education. Many of the research opportunities that come from NSF and actually from NASA give the young people really hands-on experience of doing real engineering. And they get them excited, and several people have used the word inspiration. It is all about inspiring young people. One of the major contributions also that ASEE makes is we track data on all the engineering colleges. So if you want to know how many students graduated and what programs and what the demographics are, we have the data. And the data is actually free on our website. I used to, before I was at ASEE, I see Frank Huban, the executive director, say, Frank, hey, I can get everything for free from ASEE, and I don't even have to be a member. But it's a tremendous service to the community. If you want to see how many graduates in civil engineering or electrical engineering, any school, most of the schools that are here are actually, their deans will be members of our institution, and they will put the data together for us in real time. We also published for the folks at the front table a hard copy version. Although the print is kind of small, that's my only complaint. But as I say, you can also get it on the web. Now, one of the things that we had not been doing, and we are looking at doing, we know retention is extremely important. Not only is retention important in the colleges, but it's also important in the workforce. I happened to be at a picnic last night. I was talking to a young woman who was working in the aerospace industry. I'm not going to tell you who. And she said, you know, I'm thinking of doing something else because, you know what? I don't think the work is that exciting. It's kind of boring. I said, boring? And she said, yeah. So I think retention is not just an issue for the colleges. I think it's certainly something that the folks in industry and the folks in the agencies have to look at as well. In closing, one thing, what I want to say is, I think this initiative proceeds. I would look forward, along with a number of organizations, I represent one small one, in working together with NASA, because it is all about collaboration. And I think that's where NASA is really taking a lead, and I think that the potential payoff for all of us is just enormous. So I thank you and look forward to hearing from my astronaut and then working with you folks in the future. Thank you.